Alright, ladies and gents, hello and welcome. Darkside Phil here today, live on today's stream. I am late today, and I apologize for that. Had some technical difficulties that held everything up this morning. In particular, number one, I couldn't even get Twitch to load properly on my laptop. I couldn't get the stream chat or anything going. Then my microphone wasn't working, and I had to plug it in and unplug it a few times. You know, the usual technical stuff that is completely unplanned for. There's no way you could prepare for because everything is set up as it was last night when I stopped recording. Yeah, I go to record today and nothing works. It's the usual. There's nothing I could do about it. All right? But anyway, thank you very much for being here on today's live stream, despite the fact that we have a late start. Today is Thursday, March 30th, 2017. The good news is, it's not like we're going to be massively behind, because today's gameplay stream is the conclusion of the Dark Souls 3 Ringed City DLC. Now, I've been playing this for 2 days already, so I've already put in some 8 hours of gameplay into it. And you might say, well, what the hell is left in this DLC? Is this super long or whatever? The answer is no, not particularly. The DLC really is around 6 to 8 hours long, but it does in particular have some really challenging boss fights. Yesterday, I was fighting the final boss for about roughly just under an hour. And I had him down to like the final phase, down to like the last portion of life. But he keeps getting me because he keeps pulling new attacks out of his ass that like he hasn't done before. And I'm gonna get him for sure. I've got the first two forms of the boss down pretty well. It's just gonna be a matter of mastering this third phase of the fight and then beating him. So that I don't think is gonna be too much of a big deal or too much of a challenge. Okay. If anything, it's going to be the second half of the challenge of today's stream that's going to be a tough one. A shout out to Kong Kaiju, who just did a 10-bit cheer. He says, had a couple of bits, thought I'd send them your way. Good luck on the stream today, mate. Thank you, Kong Kaiju. In particular, he's the cheerleader for today because everything's reset. I reset all the stats and everything. I do have an update in regards to yesterday's stream, alright, which I do want to talk about today. Quickly on the pre-stream. There's actually a few important things I want to talk about on today's pre-stream, alright? So I will address a bunch of stuff today before we get started. And my apologies that we have a late start, but here's some important stuff to cover. The good news is, we're still going to get the 4 hours of gameplay in. If I do end up beating the final boss of this DLC, I'm going to move on to the Dragon Boss, which apparently everyone is saying is the hardest boss in the entirety of the Dark Souls series. We'll see how I do against him. And then what I'm going to try to do is by the end of the stream, regardless if I beat the Dragon Boss, I'm going to go back to that area with the angel that I was shooting the fucking laser beams at me, and I'm going to try to figure that part out. Okay. And that'll be it for the stream. You know, regardless if I do 100% of the DLC content, once I've beaten the final boss, I've technically beaten the DLC. We'll see how it goes, but I certainly don't want to spend 7 hours trying to beat this freaking dragon boss. I have more important things to do. I have many playthroughs going on that I want to get back to. Not to say that I'm not enjoying playing Dark Souls 3, but I'm not one of these crazy completionists who absolutely needs to do every single piece of content. Okay? Okay. So let's get talking, everyone. First of all, the one major thing I want to talk about, because I tweeted about this last night, it's a big issue going on for me right now, but not particular for you, but you might want to know what the hell's going on. Something's up with my Teespring store, okay? You might be saying, well, what's up with the Teespring store? What's going on? You know, you told us everything was going well, and we've been seeing you've been wearing the products, using the products, right? In my videos and on my streams, and everything's been going fine, so what's going wrong? Well, folks, due to a technical issue behind the scenes that really isn't anyone's fault at all, in my opinion, from what I can see, I had to temporarily shut down my Teespring store overnight because of some stuff going on. Now, you might say, well, what's going on? Two things, okay? Two big issues. Number one, I noticed that for some reason, for the past week, every single sale that I made on Teespring went from being pretty profitable to literally no profit at all. Whoops. Oh, you scared me. Leanna just got back from work, and she just opened the door. So anyway, so here's what happened. You know, I launched my Teespring store some 3+ weeks ago, right? And it's all great products on there, great designs. Everyone's been contributing, making fan art and stuff for it. I even commissioned someone to make some artwork for me for it and everything. And I launched all these different products. You got t-shirts, you got sweatshirts, you got mugs, you got all this great stuff, right? And, you know, I've been making some pretty good profit from it. At least the first couple of weeks that I was doing this Teespring store, I was bringing in some really good numbers. I was like, wow, if I can keep this up, even if I make just a few sales a week, this could end up being pretty profitable for me. And could end up being something that's, you know, supplemental income for me in the long run, which is great because right now, honestly, everyone, I have about 5 or 6 designs that were already submitted that I haven't even put on the shop yet, that I'm looking to slowly roll out on the shop over the next several weeks to months. Because what I'd like to do is keep it fresh. Maybe once a week, put up a new design for everyone to check out. And I think that's a cool way to keep the store interesting rather than just the same products all the time, right? Well, all of a sudden, I took a look at my stats for the shop a few days ago, and I look, and it's telling me, and this is no exaggeration, I was making less than 50 cents per sale. And I was like, huh? Now, how the hell could this be possible? How could I go from, you know, a website that was very profitable, I was making, you know, decent money on every single sale, to less than 50 cents? Now, let's put it in perspective here, all right? Since the shop opened, I've sold, I think, over 70 items from the shop, which is great. But if you're only making less than 50 cents per sale on 70 items, it's basically nothing. It's not worth any of the effort and time that I've put into promoting the shop or setting it up. And all the work that everyone's done making fan art and everything, it's just not worth it, you know? So, obviously something was up, and I didn't know what was going on. I was very confused, so I wrote into Teespring support. Teespring support's trying to figure it out. They can't really figure it out behind the scenes and all of that, okay? So, we've been racking our brains for days trying to figure out what could have happened, what made the profit drop so much. It doesn't make any sense. Something's going on, obviously. Then last night I figured it out in the middle of the night. This is what happens sometimes. Sometimes late night, middle of the night is when things get figured out, okay? So here's what happened, folks. Last week, Twitch launched this new initiative by which you can sell customized merchandise through Teespring, all right? So I guess what Twitch figured is, hey, we got a bunch of streamers, and they're all very popular, and maybe they can make some money selling merch to their viewers. Let's integrate Teespring into our own website so that it makes it easy and fun, and rather than them having to go off and set up a Teespring of their own separately, which they may not even know how to do, let's integrate Teespring into Twitch, okay? Now, I didn't know anything about this, okay? But about a week ago, I logged into Twitch one morning to stream, and this pop-up came up, and it said, hey, there's, you know, sell merch on Teespring. There's this new integration with the site. Click here to integrate your Teespring or create a Teespring. I'm not even exactly sure what the hell the wording was on this, like, this message that popped up for me, but I noticed it, and I said, well, hey, this makes sense. Maybe there'll be some integration where I'll be able to, like, link directly on the stream to my Teespring on stream, or maybe there'll be like a new advertisement thing that'll pop up and advertise my Teespring during streams. You know, I didn't have any idea what was going on at all. It just literally said click here to do Teespring with Twitch, and I was like, okay, sounds like a plan. So I clicked it, and now here's what happened, all right? Here's what I think was supposed to happen, and here's what really happened. What I think was supposed to happen is Twitch assumed that anyone who would click that doesn't already have an existing Teespring account, okay? So, I think what they were thinking here is, oh, you're going to click that link, it'll take you to Teespring, you create a Teespring account, it links that Teespring account then to your Twitch account, and it basically integrates everything into one, all right? So what that means is actually the profit from my Teespring sales should show up under my revenue tab on my Twitch dashboard. So it kind of is counting everything together. Your bit revenue, your cheering, your subs revenue, advertisement revenue, and even Twitch or Teespring sales revenue, all included into one tab to try to make it easier for streamers, okay? In fact, I noticed it started listing any new campaign or new sale that I made on Twitch. I keep saying Twitch. On Teespring, any sale I made on Teespring would show up at the bottom of my revenue page. Okay. Shout out to Carlos K, who just did a 500-bit cheer and said hashtag DS positive. Yes. Thank you, Carlos, for the cheer. You are now the cheerleader for the day on the stream. And I am approaching this from a positive perspective. I'm not angry at anyone. I'm just trying to explain the situation of what happened, okay? So, yeah, it looks like the purpose of this new functionality is to integrate a brand new Teespring shop into your Twitch page, okay? And that I would assume it would work. I won't know if you didn't have your own Teespring already set up. But sadly, what happened is this. I already had a Teespring shop set up, right? I already had all these products on it. And profit margins and designs, everything was already set up. And the cookies in my browser already had me logged into this Teespring shop. So what ended up happening was when I clicked on, link your Teespring to Twitch, okay, what ended up happening is it fused my Teespring shop to my Twitch TV account, and it overrode all of my settings completely. So what that meant is it basically did a ton of crap that obviously I didn't want. It signed me up for all these things, like, for example, you're now added into an email promotions program by which we'll send emails to people advertising your products, but if you make a sale from that, we take like $4 a sale or something like that. And then it's like, we'll put you into the premier search, so whenever people go on Teespring or on Twitch, your products will be prominently featured, but if anyone buys your product, we take a big chunk of the profits. So what ended up happening was it put me into this giant program of promotions and stuff that I never agreed to. Now, it didn't say when you click here to link your Teespring with Twitch, you are agreeing to these promotions. It didn't say that at all. It just did it automatically without my permission. In addition, what it also did is it screwed everything up when it comes to Teespring, because I actually had some profit from sales. I've been selling Teespring products all month, and I had a bunch of profits sitting in the Teespring account that I was going to probably take out when I needed to pay my bills or whatever. What ended up happening was, again, because I clicked on this thing to link it, it assumed I didn't have anything, and it assumed that I wanted to get paid for Teespring through my Twitch payouts. So it completely overrode the payout system, and as of right now, for that money that I made on Teespring, I can't even take. I can't touch it. I can't move it. It's stuck in limbo permanently. They literally have no method by which I can withdraw that money at all. So not only is it that if anyone buys anything on my Teespring, I make next to no money on it, but now the money that I've made, I can't even take. So it's like a double whammy screw up, okay? Now, I contacted both Teespring and Twitch, and I'm happy to say that Teespring contacted me back last night, and they said, you know what? After looking into this, it looks like you're absolutely right. This is obviously a technical oversight. This isn't something that was intended. Again, this program for Twitch, it seems like it was meant to be set up for someone who didn't already have a Teespring account to set up a new one, and it wasn't supposed to override all these settings and everything. So now I'm waiting for a resolution. And, obviously, the last thing I want is people to come out and say, I'm going to buy a bunch of products from Phil's Teespring shop to support him. And someone goes and buys 5-6 shirts or mugs or whatever. And then I go and look and I made like $2 on it, because obviously that's not the point of the whole system. This whole point is people want to support me. You're going to go buy products to support me. It's supposed to help me out, not give me enough money to go buy a pack of gum. So I've temporarily suspended my Teespring shop. And I will have, hopefully, more information on it when available. Now, I see some people being negative dicks in the stream chat, which is always going to happen. It's your fault, Phil. You should have read the fine print before you clicked something. There was no fine print. There was absolutely no information whatsoever. It didn't say, click here to find out about the program. Or, here's a page explaining, or here's the terms and conditions. None of that existed. All that happened literally was I clicked the link, and because I was logged into Teespring through the cookies of my browser, it behind the scenes did all that stuff automatically without telling me what was going on. So you can be as negative as you want, but you're wrong. The issue here is that there's a behind-the-scenes link if you already had a Teespring shop that it didn't explain to you what it was doing. So, there you have it. Alright. So, that's the deal with the Teespring. Sorry that the shop is temporarily down. Hopefully it can get fixed. And it was an honest mistake, an accident. I don't feel any ill will towards anyone. And hopefully it does get fixed sooner rather than later, because I'd love to start adding new designs and advertising the Teespring store again, because it is great quality stuff. We'll see what happens with that. I'll let you know. I'll keep you in the loop, okay? The other things going on, Destiny 2 has been announced. It is releasing on September 8th. It has a $250 collector's edition. I thought we all stopped buying expensive collector's editions, seriously, but I guess Bungie didn't get the memo that's something that was like 5 years outdated. Color me a skeptic. And, a lot of people are saying I'm being overly negative about Destiny 2. Fair enough, especially if you were a fan of Destiny 1 and its many, many iterations. And what I mean by that is not vanilla Destiny 1, which pretty much now everyone collectively agrees. All right? Everyone collectively agrees that Destiny 1, the original version, was boring, it was grindy, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't until the expansions, and in fact the final expansion, what was it called, the Taken King or whatever, for Destiny, that everyone got really excited and said that the game was much improved, and this is what the original Destiny should have been. But what I don't understand is that people kind of forgave Bungie. Alright? I hate to say it. Actually, I don't hate to say it. I'm known for calling people out. Why am I saying I hate to say it? I don't hate to say it. Bungie fucked up. Bungie put out a subpar, unoriginal, grindy game, claimed that it was an MMO when it was not an MMO at all. It was an online cooperative first-person shooter. Promised a bunch about the game, never lived up to the hype. And then the only way that they actually put out a good game was by selling more. Meaning you had to pay for expansions in order to finally get a game was what the original game should have been. So, yeah, wow, Taken King was great. It's one of my favorite games. I put 100 plus gameplay hours into it. Oh yeah, but you also paid $180 to play it. Because you bought 2 expansions or whatever, right? So for me, when I hear, oh, Destiny 2, first of all I say, oh yeah, how about that 10-year game plan that you claimed you had for Destiny 1? That apparently you didn't have. You lied, obviously. Which is what I said when we first heard that. Oh, they have a 10-year game plan for Destiny 1. No, they don't. What they have is a plan for the franchise to nickel and dime you over the years to make more and more money. But because it's Bungie, everyone gives them a pass and overhypes the games and says that, you know what I mean? If this were Bungie, if this were another game developer pulling the same shit, no one would give them a pass. Everyone would be calling them out for their bullshit, and their game would have died out within 6 months. But because it's Bungie, and they made Halo, oh, we've got to forgive them. It's kind of like the Nintendo syndrome, right? Nintendo could have all these anti-consumer practices. They could not live up to their promises. They could be completely out of touch with the consumer. But because it's Nintendo, we all give them a pass. It's the same thing here with Bungie. So, bullshit. I call bullshit. And I hear, oh, Destiny 2, right? Okay, great. So show me something about Destiny 2 that actually is revolutionary. Show me something about this sequel that's going to make me want to play it besides, oh, it's fun because you play with your friends online. It's really just grinding, boring, repetitive gameplay that really isn't very original at all. It's just more of the same, but because you're playing with your friends, it's a great game, and we're going to overhype it and put, so many millions of dollars into the advertising budget to convince you that it's a good game, when in reality, you're just playing rehashed bullshit. So that's kind of the attitude I have. Is sorry, I'm approaching it with massive skepticism. All right, I don't even know if I'm gonna play it. I don't, because I played Destiny 1 and I played it. If you remember, launch week, I played it a lot. I played it cooperatively. I had a group of people who were playing it with me to do the campaign and everything. And then we did a couple of those higher level missions. I don't know if they're considered raids or whatever, but we did some of the higher level missions collectively against the giant bosses, and they were all right. But they weren't great. There was nothing great about that game at all. And then when the expansions came out, people actually had the balls to ask me if I was going to pay more money. What? Dude, I got burned on the original game. Why am I going to pay Bungie more money because they claimed they improved it? Well, the first fucking game should have been good then, right? So, I don't know. It's going to be one of the most hyped games of the year by far. It's going to be a game that I'm sure there's going to be people asking me to play. And I honestly feel kind of skeptical about giving Bungie another $60 of my money for a game that probably is going to sizzle and die. It's going to sizzle and fade away. It's going to be probably the same grinding bore fest as the first game. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe Bungie listened. Maybe Bungie actually took in all the criticisms and they said, you know what? With Destiny 1, we screwed the pooch. The original version we put out there was shit. Let's put out a really great first version of this one so that we can get that consumer confidence back from those who are now skeptical. But the bottom line is usually these big AAA game developers don't do that. They made a ton of money on Destiny 1 because everyone bought into the media hype. Everyone. And it sold a ridiculous amount of games. So, I don't know. I'm very skeptical, and I definitely would like everyone's feedback over the next several months about what if I should even bother with this game and try it out or not. For me, like I said, I mean, listen, there's always going to be people who want to do co-op with me, so it would be easy to jump into a co-op session of this game and play and do the campaign and do raids or whatever, but is it going to be something anyone's going to want to see after the initial few hours, or does it become a grinding bore fest? You know what I mean? I don't know. Oh, God, please, Breezy, or however you say your name, please don't even bring up Call of Duty World War II. I mean, are you kidding me? Has there ever been a situation where a game developer was so behind the fucking curve on something? Oh, Battlefield went back to the old school, and they did well, so now we have to do it too. All I could do is facepalm and be like, talk about just be completely out of touch. Oh, we're just going to copy what other people did. Okay, good job. Anyway, I digress. What else do I want to talk about very quickly here? Two quick things, folks, and then we'll get started. Number one, the schedule for the next few days. All right, the schedule coming up. Pretty important. Today, finishing up Dark Souls 3. Tonight, I am going to play even more Danganronpa. Okay? I'm going to play even more Danganronpa. Because I played it last night. I really enjoyed the session I did offline last night. And by the way, those videos are uploaded to DSPGaming right now. And I'm looking forward to more because I just got into a new murder mystery. And I want to do the new investigation and the trial and everything tonight. Okay? So more Danganronpa later tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going back to Zelda, folks. Because we're in the home stretch for Zelda. It looks like 1 or 2 more sessions of Zelda, and the game will be over. And the bottom line is, right now, I need to finish as many games as possible. Because I'm in the midst of so many playthroughs, I need to finish off what I can before Persona 5 releases next week. If you're not aware, Persona 5, one of the highest rated games of recent memory. People saying not only is it the best Persona game ever made, but it could be one of the best JRPGs ever made in history. That is amazing, and I really want to focus on that game. So obviously I don't want to have 400 lingering playthroughs by the time that it comes out next week. I need to finish as much as I can, okay? So I'm going to do my best to finish up what I can. Today, finishing Dark Souls. Tomorrow, working on finishing Zelda. I'm hoping to finish Zelda over the weekend, so at least a couple of these playthroughs are done, okay? Fair enough, folks? Sound good? And then, like I said, Zelda all this weekend. I'll probably be trying to squeeze in more Danganronpa. If not, I'll try to squeeze in some Mass Effect. Alright, because I know I haven't played Mass Effect now in a while, and people who are liking the playthrough are like, what the hell happened to it? Listen, so many games came out at once in March, there's not much I can do. I don't know why the game developers do this. They literally undercut each other and kill each other for market share because they fucking release all their games at once. It's like they have no fucking self-awareness of anything in their industry, and they do no research to find out when other games are coming out, and they just all release the games overlapping within a 4-week period, rather than, those other 4 fucking months when there's no games in the summer, which would be a great time to release your game. No. We'll release them all in March, and then, and then we'll complain that the sales are low because everyone was split between what games they could afford. Pretty stupid, in my opinion. The other final thing I want to talk about here, folks, is Patreon and tipping and all of that, because I got an update. So yesterday here on the stream, I actually received a $100 tip, which at the time I was pretty skeptical about. And the reason I was skeptical was because at the very same time that I received this tip, I got an email claiming that there was fraud for a credit card that I didn't have, but somehow my email address got tied into it. So it seemed that, what a coincidence, that at the same time I got this tip, I got an email about a fraud alert for a credit card that it says was used illegally. So I got all this at the same time, and, I'm making a correlation. Gee, maybe it's a fake tip or whatever. It may not be fake. It may actually have been good. It may have been legit. And I kind of feel bad because there's no way with this system, honestly, to tell what's legit and what's not. Okay? Now, just to let you know how this works, when you tip me here on Twitch, what happens is, if you're interested to figure out how that works, when you're watching today's stream, you're, oh man, maybe I'd like to send Phil a tip. I really like the gameplay today. If you look below my stream here on my Twitch page, there's a section that says tips. If you click on it, it brings you to my tips page, and there you can send me a tip via PayPal. Okay? So that's how it works. Now, what happens is that payment gets sent via PayPal, and of course, that's completely on however you want to do it. You can do it through a credit card, you can do it through your bank account, however you pay on PayPal, right? The problem is that PayPal isn't a 100% guaranteed service. And what I mean by that is that, someone could charge something on a charge card and then try to contact their company and say, oh, decline that charge or whatever. And in fact, folks, I already got that. That already happened to me. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but there was someone who did a bunch of tips a couple weeks ago, and then they tried to basically commit credit card fraud by calling their credit card company and claimed that the charges were fraudulent. And so I told PayPal, no, this is not true. These were tips that were done on a gameplay stream, and this person received their appropriate shout-outs, which was the agreement, and therefore these were legit. This is not falsified. And PayPal stuck up for me and said, all right, no problem. You get the charges. We're not going to do anything with this. This guy has to pay. So, yeah, people already tried to troll me with this, and I got it fixed, basically. Okay? But I haven't had any situation where people like trying to do a giant tip or whatever and then try to pull it back. So yesterday this happened. I got this big tip and I got this fraudulent email saying, oh, there's fraud, credit card fraud. And I put two and two together and thought that was maybe the situation. Now I don't think it is, actually. I actually think that this tip was probably legitimate, and now I feel really bad because the guy, what was his name? Coral? I forget, it was Coral Guy or something like that. I feel bad because I did give him a shout out, but then I came back from a break and I was like, well, I don't know if this is legit or not. It looks like it probably is legit. So I feel bad because, I was very skeptical. Keep in mind, I'm very apprehensive. I'm just starting to learn about the streaming stuff, guys. I've only been doing this new streaming method for a few weeks. I don't know too much about it. But I think the guy was legit, and now I kind of feel really bad for Coral Guy because he subbed and he sent this big tip, and I was kind of being so skeptical. I apologize wholeheartedly, if this was legit, okay? I do, because, for me, I just got to be careful about what I say and do, because last thing I want is now someone to send a bunch of fake tips over the stream, and it looks so great, and everyone's like, wow, Phil's doing great. Next thing you know, they all get fucking falsified or whatever. But yeah, I think the guy was legit at this point, and I think that there's no problem, and I think that it did go through, so I feel bad, and if Coral Guy does come back today, please let him know that I apologize, that I think that he was legit, and I think it was just a misunderstanding because of the timing of everything, okay? Alright, I think that's it for the pre-stream. Oh, one last thing. Patreon, folks. Today is the 30th of March. There's only one day left in March, which means if you're going to pledge to my Patreon for March, you only have 36 hours left. There's only 36 hours left to pledge and get in on the big goal event, which is the interactive Twitch and Chill stream where I'll be doing Jackbox Party Pack gameplay, interactive with people who pledge to me $5 or more this month. And as I've said, I really need your support, folks, because April's going to be a very tough month for me with these bills coming up and ridiculously declined income because of what happened in February with YouTube ad revenue screwing me over and everything. So anything you can contribute, if you can pledge to my Patreon, it's your last chance. 36 hours left. Please do so. I appreciate those who have. And now it is time to start with Dark Souls 3. Sounds good? All right, let's get started with the conclusion. The absolute conclusion. my Dark Souls 3 gameplay. This is it. After today, I'm not playing Dark Souls 3 anymore. There's no reason to go back to it. There's no more DLCs or nothing. So this is kind of the end of the game. Sound good? All right. Let us begin, folks. Here we go. Thank you. And let's start. Oh, and shout out to Wolf of the Dawn, who just did a 10-bit cheer. He said, Phil, for the last stream, you got to stream shirtless. Oh, my God. No, I will not stream shirtless. Okay. All right, let's begin.